honourable member for Kildonan St. Paul.
Karen de Malata is a live-in caregiver from the Philippines working for 2 doctors on the front lines of the COVID crisis in Ottawa. Sadly, Karen was diagnosed with chronic kidney disease, and as a result, her immigration status has been put in limbo. The Liberals have been sitting on her humanitarian compassionate application for a year. Without approval, she will be forced to return to the Philippines, where she won't have access to proper medical care and will die, leaving her 2 children motherless. Karen is a tax-paying member of Canadian society. She's contributing to the COVID effort. The delay is completely un-Canadian. Will the Minister of Immigration expedite Karen's case?
Minister. La ministre ou secrétaire parlementaire.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We understand that decisions in immigration cases can have a profound impact on people's lives. Each file is evaluated based on the facts and in all respect of the laws of Canada. Each case is evaluated on its own merits. I cannot discuss an individual case due to confidentiality legislation, as my colleague does know, but I will be pleased to work with her on individual cases.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Regina Leuven.
Mr. Speaker, I know what the minister's trying to do. You see, I come from a farm in Saskatchewan, and we pride ourselves in having common sense and knowing when the wool is going to be pulled over our eyes. Actually, the people of Saskatchewan have a new phrase for this. It's called getting liberaled. The minister yesterday said that there was no final decision that was made. And now I have layoff notices from these employees. So either he's contradicting Nav Canada or he should ask Nav Canada to rescind these layoff notices. So what is it? Is the fix in? Is this decision already been made?
The Honourable Parliament Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And we understand the hard impact of Nav Canada's decision and how they've impacted Canadians and employees of Nav Canada across the country. But again, it is important to note that any changes in the level of service proposed by Nav Canada is subject to a rigorous safety assessment by Transport Canada officials. No compromise on safety will ever be tolerated.
For Sarnia-Lambton.
Monsieur le Président.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday, a unanimous consent motion was tabled to set up a selection committee for choosing the next Governor General. But the Liberals refused to adopt that motion. Does the Prime Minister think that the vetting process that he used for Julie Payette, does he really think that was better? The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, every Canadian, as I indicated yesterday, deserves to go to work each day in a safe workplace environment, free from harassment. That includes the hardworking and dedicated employees who work at Rideau Hall. We took this matter very seriously from the beginning and put in place an independent review process. Following that process, the Prime Minister accepted Madame Payette's resignation, and we are in the process of reviewing the next steps.
The Honourable Member for Sarnia-Lambton.
Well, Mr. Speaker, because of the Prime Minister's failure, the Canadian taxpayer is on the hook for $350,000 a year pension and expense account for the former Governor General. How is the Prime Minister going to show Canadians that his continual lack of good judgment won't have to keep being paid for by their hard work?
The Honourable Minister.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Speaker, the former Governor General's annuity will be dealt with in accordance with the Governor General's Act, something that has been in place for many years. The reimbursement of expenditures to the former Governor General is the responsibility of the Office of the Secretary to the Governor General. The new leadership at Rideau Hall will be able to address the serious concerns that are raised in good part if
the Honourable
September.
Mr. Speaker, Our oil isn't flowing, our vaccines aren't landing, and now Buy America is set to put thousands of Canadians out of work. President Biden had these policies as a key part of his campaign platform. The Liberals had plenty of time to prepare for this possibility. Will the Prime Minister do something for Canadian workers and immediately act to protect Canadian jobs?
The Honourable Minister.
Monsieur le Président, nous défendrons toujours les intérêts.
Mr. Speaker, we will always defend Canadians' interests. The Prime Minister has spoken with the President and has highlighted that workers need to be able to benefit from our integrated supply chains. The Prime Minister and the President have agreed to consult each other to protect trade between our two countries. We will work together to support a sustainable economic recovery. Thank you.
Member for Portage Lisgar.
Mr. Speaker, there's a pattern here. The Prime Minister just surrendered on Keystone XL. He is surrendering on Line 5, and now he's throwing up his hands and doing nothing to protect Canadian jobs from this Buy America policy. Our previous government worked with the Obama administration to get an exemption from their Buy American policies. To get our economy back on track, Canadians need a government that will secure jobs now and for the future. So will the Liberals push for an exemption, yes or no?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, our government will always stand up for Canadian businesses and Canadian workers. The Prime Minister and the President agreed to consult closely to avoid any measures that may constrain bilateral trade and economic growth between our two countries. Canada is the largest export market for the United States, buying more goods from the U.S. than China, UK, and Japan combined. Canada is the #1 customer for more than 32 states. So yes, we will continue to work to stand up for Canadian businesses and the Canadian people so that we can grow middle-class jobs here in Canada.
La députée de Saint-Jean.
The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean. Mr. Speaker, epidemiologists are sounding the alarm. The only way to control the pandemic is to ensure that most Quebecers are vaccinated before the new COVID-19 variants take hold in Quebec. But yesterday, Ontario Public Health revealed that not only has the British variant reached the province, it will become the principal strain of the virus by March. That's a piece of very bad news, especially because we will be getting 70% less of the Pfizer vaccine than initially planned. What is the Prime Minister doing to ensure that we get the vaccines promised? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I will just say that we have been working closely with provinces and territories to make sure they have the supports, the tools, and the necessary resources to deploy the vaccine as it arrives in Canada. And I am extremely grateful to the hardworking ministers of health from all across the country who are doing exactly that. We'll continue to work together to protect the health of Canadians, including Quebecers.
Député de Saint-Jean.
The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean. Mr. Speaker, the bad news just keeps piling up. We have heard that there won't be any Pfizer vaccine doses arriving this week. Then we heard that there would be 50% less after that, and then 70% less. The government keeps saying that it will reach its goal by March, but at this point, it's hard not to have serious doubts. We are 20th in the world in the vaccine rankings, and our position keeps slipping. What is the Prime Minister going to do? The Honourable Minister.
Monsieur le Président, nous avons...
Mr. Speaker, we have communicated very clearly with all the provinces and territories regarding vaccine deliveries. And I would repeat to my honourable colleague that we will receive 6 million doses of the vaccine by the end of the first quarter. And we will continue to receive more and more vaccine doses in Canada and Quebec throughout the year. That way, by the end of September, all Canadians who wish to receive the vaccine will be able to get it. And that's only considering the 2 already approved vaccines.
This way.